Buckets.
Hello and welcome to episode 79 of Two Man Game with Damon and Dom. I'm Damon, that's Dom, and you are the listener. It is Sunday, June 8th, right after game two of the NBA Finals at the time of recording this. So we will talk about what we have seen so far. But first, like, comment, and subscribe on the video, leave 5 stars on Spotify, all that good stuff. Dom, how are you?
Hey, oh, it's me. I'm here. It's Dom. I am good. I don't know why I did an intro like that, but I'm happy I did. I'm doing well. I went and watched game two in a bar. I missed a lot of game one because I went to band practice. We're going to talk about it. I rewatched game one because I wanted to see what I missed. But I'm doing
Mhm.
good. I swam at my friend's pool yesterday, and we put up flyers for our show around town, which we have in 2 weeks. So I'm very excited about that. And yeah, we have a lot of band practice, a lot of new music, new album coming out. So there's a lot of band stuff happening right now, and I'm super excited about it.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Hey,
Exciting to hear.
hey, how are you? How are you doing, Damon?
Doing well, doing well. Can't complain. Summertime, work slowing down, school slowing down. Still kids there, but less kids. Um, so that's been fine. I started my third RP related thing. So I was already doing Star Wars, and then I was doing D&D with Jared, friend of the pod, and then also with Jared, but another coworker is hosting it. It's like a superhero D&D. So now
Oh,
I'm
that's
doing
cool.
that. So and I hosted it
How
at my place on Thursday. So that was a lot of fun.
how was it?
It was fun. It was fun. I think we started at like 7 o'clock, and then a lot of people at our school, especially over the summers, don't work on Friday, but I
Mhm.
do. So I think five. It was five people that worked there. Three of them didn't have to work, including the guy that was running it, and it was just me and my friend Xavier that had to work on Friday. And it was like 12:30, and I was like, okay, can we can we call it? Can we get to a stopping point, please? Oh my God. It was a lot of fun
Yeah.
though.
Anyone that
I had a
gets to
good
play those games, you get sucked into it so easily, you know? So, and they're so fun. That's like what's fun about it. So, um, yeah.
and
Well,
then I was
sounds fun.
supposed to do D&D today, and I said, guys, I really want to watch the finals. So can I do it like anytime before 7? And people were not free. So we just didn't do D&D
Oh,
today.
oh, gotcha. Well, here's the thing about the finals. There's only 7 games,
Yeah.
and then you get back to it. So I hope they understood because the bar I went to did not understand that the NBA finals
Mm.
were on. I'll tell you that much. I
Tell
I
me about
went
it.
I went to game two. I went to watch the game today in a bar because I just wanted to. I did not want to have to worry about watching it at home on the laptop. I couldn't get on the TV, so go to a bar. There's 6 TVs. 4 of them are the Tony Awards. I love musicals, love plays, we love theater.
Yeah.
Tony Awards, come on, it's the
Acting
NBA
major.
Finals. Yeah, literally. And then there's a Dodgers game, which is like the beginning of the season, so no one should care.
But
And
LA, so it makes
but
sense, I
LA,
guess.
yeah, but also NBA Final. There's so much. Anyways, it was fine. I was able to watch the game. I had a good time, and
That's the OKC Indiana effect right there.
yeah, the small markets. I know it's so dumb. It's good. So game one especially was great. Game two, we'll get into it. Not as competitive as we would want it to be, but still the NBA Finals. But you know, when I have a bar, it's gonna be basketball all the time, no matter
No,
what.
nothing else.
Nothing
Off
else. They're
season
like, can we
doesn't
please
matter.
have
We're
the
playing.
Super
We're
Bowl? I
reruns.
was like, what is the Super Bowl? We're rewatching Michael Jordan Bulls game. I was like, what?
No, it's like sorry, we got Wizards Jazz replay on right now. Sorry,
Yeah, we
sorry
got a
about that.
2020 2024 Wizards Jazz. Yeah, replay. Like when they were like the worst teams in the league. Yeah, yeah, it's rewatch. Yeah, yeah. So what do you want to drink? I was like, I'm out of here. It's like, okay, see ya. I'm not gonna miss you.
Well,
Yeah,
we
so
we don't welcome your kind. No, that sounds bad. We don't
yeah, we
welcome.
know we don't welcome your fans around those kind of fans around here.
Yeah,
Yeah. So my bar will be open for 6 months. I'm super stoked
yeah.
for that, whenever that
That's
happens.
generous.
Yeah, I know. That's what I do. Hey, you know what? Let's get into some news.
Okay, let's do it. Are you gonna hit us with a song?
It's news time.
Great.
It's the news time.
That was
Should
awesome.
I just make these? I should make sound bites. I really wanted to. Okay. Drop a comment down below on YouTube.
No one's gonna
Should we
comment.
add sound effects to the pod?
Okay.
Let us know. Put
Should I bring an air horn to
an
blast
actual
into my
air horn.
microphone?
Yeah, and that just like right in the front of just right here, just squeeze it in. Anyways, news time.
Yeah, I read this earlier this week. Zach Edey sprained his ankle apparently during a workout this offseason. And he had a sprained ankle earlier in the season, missed some time for it too. Apparently, so bad that he had to have surgery on it to restabilize it. So he is likely going to be out at the start of next season. That's wild for a sprained ankle. Must have been a bad sprain.
I mean, he's a big guy. Maybe he injured it more after the sprain, you know?
Hmm.
But to be out for 4 months is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I guess just want him to heal up, so get well soon. At least, he didn't miss like any part of his rookie season. That's good.
It also
Hopefully
sucks because like he can't work on his game now.
that's true. Yeah, and it's so early in his career too. Like, hopefully this is not a sign of things to come.
He's a big
But
guy.
yeah, he's a big guy. We gotta be careful about that. But get well soon, Zach Edey. And other news, the Jazz, whom we mentioned earlier, they hired the
Hmm.
Celtics assistant GM Austin Ainge as their next president of basketball operations. He's been with the Celtics for 14 years, and his father, Danny Ainge, is the CEO of the Utah Jazz. Ah, nepotism.
Yes. I was trying to look into this to see who was their president of basketball operations. Apparently, they didn't have one. Um, I thought it was just Danny Ainge, and I guess it basically was Danny Ainge, but now they brought in another guy. Um, I guess
Hmm.
like I don't really know what Austin Ainge did with his time with the Celtics, so I can't comment on it a lot. But this means that the Jazz will like actually get rid of some players like Markkanen and John Collins and Jordan Clarkson and like play people and not fake injuries and stuff. They got fined for that multiple times last year for fake injuries and things like that to tank. So if it gets away from that, then great.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, it's we talked about it, but yeah, when Markkanen signed that extension last year, that made him ineligible to be traded. We didn't really know what they were doing, so hopefully this is a sign of, hey, we are finally really committing to this rebuild mode. Let's see what we can do to move these other contracts out the way. So hopefully this is a sign.
Yeah, I don't like the nepotism aspect of it
Well, it
though.
also reminds me of a workplace I have worked at where there was someone who worked in a department, and then her son also worked at the same place I did. And I'm really trying to use very vague things because people might know what I'm talking about, so I don't want to be specific. But they made a position just for him that didn't exist before, and it was basically just like a not a shadow position. He didn't do and nothing, but it basically was just to be above everyone else in that office for no reason except for, oh, that's their son. So
Mm,
reminds me of that kind of. And I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now.
yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Tell me how you feel about this, though. The Phoenix Suns hiring Cavs assistant coach Jordan Ott to be their next franchise head coach. He's been an
Oh.
NBA assistant since 2012. He apparently focuses a lot on player development, which will be interesting. The job pool had over 15 candidates, and Devin Booker had a role in this and a say in this too. So, do you think does Jordan not last more than a year in the Suns organization?
Yeah, I don't know anything about Jordan Ott. But I like that they didn't just hire a coach that has like a championship that won one recently, has like the name, like
Michael
really
Malone.
seems like oh my, like literally, or Taylor Jenkins, like who knows? You know what I mean? Like there could be any of these people. Greg Popovich, he's back. Sorry.
That would be
He's like,
crazy.
I'm leaving this. I'm coaching the Jazz. We're coming for you.
The
Uh,
Jazz,
yeah, no, I'm leaving the Spurs for the Jazz. That's what I meant. Come
the
on,
Suns. You mean the
the
Suns?
Suns, man. What even is today? That's what I meant. The Suns. We're talking about the Suns right now. Um, but I like that they just kind of went with who is going to be like the best fit. Hopefully it works out. It reminds me kind of like when the Lakers hired Darvin Ham. Obviously didn't
Hmm.
work out, but I liked that idea of still choosing someone not because of their name or what they've accomplished, but just from their merits and like what they can bring to the team. So I'm not optimistic about the Suns. I mean, they're one of the teams I'm like, you're developing players. What players? Who are you drafting? Oh
They
yeah,
got to
man,
develop
draft.
somebody to play over
Yeah,
there.
draft. Just develop Ryan Dunn, I guess. So.
They got
Um.
Oso Ighodaro.
Oh yeah, I don't know who that is, but this has been fun. No. Well, how do you feel about it? Do you know where was he? Assistant coach just before
Cavs.
this? Oh, the Cavaliers. Yeah.
So
So.
under Kenny Atkinson, another player development guy, that team
Mhm.
was just the one seed in the East. Um, 13 years of assistant coaching experience. Seems like a qualified candidate, and they had so many candidates to choose from, apparently.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it. Yeah. I think because, like you said, they went Frank Vogel, they went Budenholzer, they had Monty Williams, of course. They're flying through guys left and right. So
Yeah.
instead of the old guard, which clearly wasn't working, let's try something new.
Yeah.
Um,
I like that a lot.
and I think this also probably leans into Kevin Durant being gone more likely than not
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, and I think it speaks volumes that they spoke with that Devin Booker played a factor into choosing the next head coach, and then say Kevin Durant played a factor, like he did with like the Nets and with Steve Nash when that was, So seems like he might be looking elsewhere, and I think that's okay. So,
Yeah.
someone else who's going to be looking elsewhere, Tom. Okay, also, do you pronounce it Thibodeau or Thibodeau? Do you
It's
say the H?
Thibodeau.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought. Because sometimes
Yeah.
I'll say Thibodeau. I'm like, no. Tom Thibodeau has been fired from the New York Knicks. Remember that historic run into the conference finals where they haven't been there for 30 years?
That
About?
just happened.
That just happened. You know what? Screw you, man. You're out of here. He led them to
25
the
years, thank you.
25 years. Thank you. Thank you. He made the playoffs 4 out of 5 years as the coach, and he led the Knicks to a consecutive 50-win season for the first time since the 90s. And they were like, hey, Tom, we appreciate what you did, but you're not going to get us there. And we mentioned, I think we talked about this a little bit when the Knicks got eliminated.
Hmm.
So I kind of hate that we talked it into existence almost, because
Yeah, neither of us thought it was going to happen, but we were like,
yeah,
ah.
because the thing is, whenever a team gets eliminated, they're always just like, what do they do next? They want to find someone or something to blame. Could be injuries, could be a player that doesn't play as well as they should have, or could be the coach. And they decided to just let go of the coach. And I think it's more of a roster issue, like we just discussed, like it's depth. I don't think anyone else is really going to. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully they can bring in somebody, but who? Michael Malone? Just.
I've heard some interesting rumors. Well, I'll get to it no, I'll get to it right now. Jason
Mhm.
Kidd, I've heard poaching him from the Mavericks, and quote unquote trading. Like, what, technically, you could trade for coaches. It's really more like you give a team something to allow the coach to leave their current contract. So not really trading, but they could give them something. But I've heard a lot of Jason Kidd rumors to the Knicks, which is interesting. If he wants out of Dallas for some reason, I don't know if he does. I mean, they got rid of Luca, but they still have Anthony Davis and Kyrie and Cooper Flag, probably. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
why that doesn't make any sense to me. But what do I know? I just love watching basketball and everything about it. But yeah, poaching Jason Kidd is such an interesting notion. It's like
Yeah, I've
it's like
I've
oh
heard that.
like cause the coach we just got didn't work out. Let's get someone who already has a contract with someone else. Like okay.
I've
Anyways,
heard
yeah,
that. I've heard a little Michael Malone, a little Taylor Jenkins. Those are the popular names probably going to
yeah,
pop up for every coaching position
yeah.
this offseason. But yeah, I mean, back-to-back 51 seasons, a team that for pretty much our whole life has been kind of whatever. Never
Yeah.
never really been anything. So to finally get them that level of success, I do think, we identified the he's more of a floor coach than a ceiling coach. Um, and they have a very good floor, and now maybe the Knicks just don't think that he can quite get them to that ceiling that they want. Um, so if that's their case, fine. I just feel like you probably have to have a plan in place if that is the way you're going, and I don't know if they do have a plan in
Yeah.
place.
Poaching a
Um,
coach is not really a plan, if you ask
Not a
me.
great plan.
Yeah,
Not a
there's a lot
great
of room
plan
for
at
error.
all.
They could say, I don't want to. It's like, damn, that was our plan.
I know
Damn.
Tom Thibodeau is also really close with assistant coach Rick Brunson, who is the dad of Jalen Brunson, so there's like a weird dynamic there. I know they just also extended him like last year for 30 million, so have fun with the 30 million. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be all right out there. You
That's
know,
just insane.
not
Well,
complaining too much.
I thought at first when you said the rumor was going to be that they're going to hire Rick Brunson as the coach.
Mm,
Um, More nepotism.
the nepotism,
It's like
nepotism is,
opposite nepotism. It's like because
yeah.
it's his son, but still, yeah, it's I guess we'll find out. We'll see what happens. But I hate to see that his tenure there end like that. He was very successful and I hope he's very proud of what he did. But I would hate to be like I want that one last chance. Like we were right there and we couldn't go over the hump. Next season's I'm gonna do it again. And they're like, oh no, you don't even get that chance. It's like,
No next season for you, buddy.
yeah, kind of sucks, I gotta say. But thank you, Tom Thibodeau, for what you did for the Knicks. You made them relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I'm sure if he wants another coaching job, it wouldn't be that hard to
yeah,
get one. I'm sure there's a lot of teams out there, a lot of those young teams especially that would love a floor coach, a coach to just lift them and start getting some winning culture in their organizations because
yeah,
there's some franchises that desperately need that. So we'll
absolutely.
see.
Yeah. You know what else franchises need? Championships.
That's what everyone wants, I think.
Yeah. And I think it's time for us to dive into the finals. Dive into the finals.
Is that the version of the song for this?
I guess so, man.
That's
I
bad.
just dive into the finals. Dive into the final, like an little R&B,
There
little
you go. There
R&B
you go.
one. Um, okay, enough of my nonsense. Damon, I wasn't able to watch a lot of game one. Can you enlighten me?
Oh, brother, did you miss out?
Oh,
Um,
thanks, man.
one of the one of the
I
one of the greatest games, and I've said that a lot this postseason, and
love it.
usually it involves the Pacers. Um, but it's all true. Very interesting from the jump, game one. The Thunder start Case and Wallace in their starting lineup
Hmm.
over Isaiah Hartenstein. So they run SGA, Case and Wallace, J Dub, Lou Dort, Chet as their five. Thought that was interesting because the double big lineup had brought them a lot of success throughout these playoffs against the Nuggets, the Timberwolves. The first round was whatever. Yes,
And
yes, Dom.
usually, I know I'm already interrupting, but usually when teams make adjustments, it's not the team that is the favorite. The favorite that's
Right.
going to make the adjustment. Usually, it's like the Pacers would have had a different starting lineup because they're trying to do adjustments. So that was very interesting, at least from my perspective, that they're like, "Hey, game one, we're already changing something instead of doing what we've
Yeah.
done this whole postseason."
Yeah. Not even coming in with your normal plan, just saying we're already addressing beforehand.
Yeah.
Um, but it seemed to be a good adjustment because they forced 19 turnovers in the first half, the most that has ever been done in NBA playoff history, not just finals, all playoffs. The Pacers defense, though, on the other side, did a really, really good job. Despite allowing 19 turnovers, and they ended up finishing with 25 turnovers, I'll get into that later, only 11 total points off turnovers in the game. So some of that was because they had a lot of like passes go out of bounds and stuff like that. So it wasn't live ball turnovers, but on even on steals and stuff, they were really hustling to get back and contest and not give the Thunder like easy layups and stuff like that. So that's super good on them to kind of sprint back down the court to prevent those easy points. Um, so they were losing pretty much. I mean, they were losing literally the whole game. By some degree, but they kept it within reach. It wasn't ever like, okay, there's no way they could win this game. They were down, 8, 10, 12, some amount of points that it's like it's not over, right? Um SGA, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander took 30 shots in this game. Really looking like an MVP, getting to the mid-range, getting to the foul line. Um and kind of I mean, we'll talk more about it in game two because I'm sure you probably saw this too. A lot of good defense on him and just shoots over him. Just shooting right over him. It's like, sorry, there's nothing you can do about it. Um, and I don't know what kind of adjustments the Pacers are going to make going back to Indiana, but it doesn't seem like whoever they put on him have been kind of bothering him nearly as much as they need to. J-Dub and Chet, though, the other parts of the Thunder big three, really struggled in game one. Neither of them played very well. I think Chet only played like 24 minutes. And then
6 points. That was it.
6 points. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tough game for Chet. Not a great game for J-Dub either. He's pretty inefficient from the field. The Pacers offense were struggling most of this game. Thunder defense is looking really good. I mentioned the turnovers already. They kind of started figuring it out though after halftime. Only had 6 turnovers the rest of the game after having 19 in the first half. At some point in the fourth quarter, the Pacers were down by 15, which was the largest lead of the game for the Thunder, and they clawed back and didn't give up. And I feel like the last couple minutes, it was like, are we doing this, or are we going down this path again? Um, and we sure did. The Thunder missed a shot, up one. Pacers come up the floor, no timeout. Just throw the ball to Haliburton, Case and Wallace, all defensive level player on him. Just shoots right over him basically, and that shot goes in with zero point 0.3 seconds left. Their first lead of the game. It was a crazy shot. We were actually doing the superhero thing that I was talking about, and I had my friend's tablet, and I had the game on the whole time, just like watching it as it was
Yeah.
going on, and then like I was watching it and playing, but like the last couple minutes, I was really just watching it, and like Jared was also watching it, and we both watched that shot happen in real time, and it was pretty awesome.
Dude.
Um, and the Thunder, zero point 0.3 seconds, not enough time to get a shot off, so they tried to throw a lob, but it was contested, and Pacers win their first lead of the game right at the very end. Finished with 25 turnovers, which is the most in a victory in the finals ever in the NBA. They had 19 more turnovers than the Thunder, which is the largest negative differential for a team to win by 7 turnovers. So the largest turnover differential teams had is 12 and one. Um, they had 19 and one. Crazy game. A game that the Thunder looked like they had all the means to win throughout the game, and they let it slip right there at the end. But this is now 4 series in a row where the Pacers have had a comeback game on the road and won in the last seconds, basically. And Tyrese Haliburton has been the guy making all of those shots for them too. They did it in Milwaukee against the Bucks. They did it in, I think it was game two against the Cavs. Did it in game one against the Knicks. That was a crazy game. And now game one in the finals. This team just doesn't go away. Uh, they are always there and always trying, and they never give up. And the resilience, I think, is kind of um, admirable that they've shown throughout these playoffs. And they did it again in the finals. And a lot of people picked Thunder in five, Thunder in six, and they came out and won game one. That's a big statement to make.
Thank you for recapping the game. I wanted to share a statistic that has been circulating. Um, going into Thursday, into game one of the finals, teams were 0 and 182 when trailing by 9+ points in the final 3 minutes of an NBA Finals game since 1971. And now that record is 1 and 182.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy? I get chills thinking about
they do
that.
it again.
Yeah, they love doing stuff like that. Hey, I gotta pull up my notes, and there they are. Yeah, that was a crazy. I was at band practice. I watched the first three quarters, and then I was keeping up with the score, and I saw it was getting closer, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like it's getting close. Like hopefully it's interesting." And then you texted me like he did it again. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Damn, that's crazy." My band like was like, "You guys wouldn't get it." I just like looked it up. I just kept getting all these notifications, game winner, game winner. People texting me. I'm like, "Man, that must have been fun to watch." It's like, "All right, back to rehearse the song again." Sometimes priorities, it's crazy. But I'm super happy. That was me when I got to when the Knicks when they took that, went to overtime. Like I remember that feeling. It was a good feeling. Um, but yeah, so that was game one. So Pacers take game one, which I bet no one thought they were gonna take game one. Maybe game two, but not game one. Well, we're gonna go to game two now, and I'm just gonna spoil it right now. The Pacers lost game two,
Yeah,
but um, I still admired throughout the entire game how they did not give up. Um, Even though things really weren't clicking for them, they really it was pretty even in the beginning, first quarter. It was pretty tied up. First quarter ended 26-20. The Thunder going on like just a little tiny run.
hmm
But the Thunder had that big lineup with Chet and Hartenstein. Chet looked way more comfortable. He was going to the hoop, putting up layups. He was taking shots. He made a couple, like a three. He made a long two. He just looked a lot more comfortable out there. And they showed a stat why he like in the whole 24 minutes of the last game he got only 6 points, and then after within being in like the second quarter, he already had 11 points and was a lot more efficient. And I think it was a
yeah.
very, it was,
I think he outscored his game one performance in the first quarter of game two.
yeah, yeah. There you go. So, exactly. So it's good to see that it was a bit more comfortable out there. And then second quarter and really then on, the Thunder started clicking like on all cylinders. They went on a 19-2 run at one point in the second quarter, and that was just like it was
It
just
was a
tough to watch.
long run.
Yeah,
It was
it was
like
so long.
6, 7 minutes.
I
It was
remember I
brutal.
was yeah, it was say I remember I read it it said like a graphic like in the last 5 minutes Pacers are 1 for 7 from the field and the Thunder were like 7 of 12. They had like almost twice as many shot attempts because the Pacers just turned the ball over so much. I mean that it really the defense and the offense. That's like the Thunder's thing, and they did a great job. Aaron Wiggins was making some like great threes. The
hmm
Cason Wallace, Alex Caruso on the defensive end. I mean, Shea looked like the MVP. You mentioned it. He would just get to his spot. He would back down somebody, drive to the hoop, then back up, throw it up at the free throw line, and make it every time. It was just, uh, it's just practice for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And J Dub, Jalen Williams also had a bounce back game. He was looking really good. He was a lot more aggressive. He was driving to the hoop. He got some blocking fouls called on, like TJ McConnell at one point. So, he was doing his game, which is attacking and also able to like shoot the three. So, yeah, the Thunder were able just to keep the lead. I don't think it went under at least like 14 points at any time, maybe 12 points in the third or fourth quarter. Because the Pacers would go on a little run, they get a little close, and then Thunder would take a timeout and say like, okay, guys, lock in. Um, so, it was not as interesting as game one. I was at the bar. It was 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the 21-point game. And I was like, I can leave, but if I leave, I might miss something.
That's another comeback. Yeah.
I might miss
Yeah.
another something.
I was
And
thinking
then,
about that
and
too when I was
right,
watching.
yeah, right when I was thinking that, Hallie made a three, and I was like, okay, we're cooking. And then, like, they went down by like 26, and I was like, I don't think they're cooking anymore. I think the kitchen is closed.
Mm.
For the Pacers, at least. The Thunder was open. Yeah, so you have this written down. Time of death was that 2 minutes 42 seconds in the fourth quarter. Thunder up by 18. Johnny Furphy and James Johnson checked in for the Pacers. Legends. At least James Johnson for sure.
Legends,
Furphy,
legends, yeah.
prove yourself, prove yourself. But yeah, it's interesting. They're going now to Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a. I also I gotta mention the jerseys. Come on, blue looks so good. The blue looked so good, and the blue in the crowd looked amazing. The yellow didn't bother me as much when there's the blue.
Okay.
White and yellow just looks
Is
terrible.
that how it was? It was that in game one,
That
right?
was
White and
game
yellow.
one. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, come on, guys. Anywho, I gotta mention it. But at least they didn't wear their city jerseys.
Maybe the Pacers will wear their city jerseys
I
at
have
home.
never wanted something more for them to wear their city jerseys at home, and then the Thunder wear their blue. That'd be
Yeah.
sick. That look great. It would look amazing. But yeah, it's interesting to see what's going to happen. Going into Indianapolis 1-1. I kind of was expecting it to be 2-0 Thunder, and then maybe
hmm
Pacers win two games. So we'll see what happens. I think there's two games in between. Sorry, there's 2 days in between. So next game's Wednesday. So they got Monday, Tuesday, rest and travel. Um, yeah. How do you think the rest of the series is going to go?
Yeah.
Well, also, sorry. What are your thoughts on game two? I'm sorry. I just kind of like talked about the whole game.
Game two, yeah. Game two, I thought the Thunder defense looked even better than it did in game one, and they forced a lot of turnovers in game one. But game two, it just really looked like the Pacers were uncomfortable. Like Haliburton looked uncomfortable. Nimhard, like their offense was very chaotic, but not in like the typical Pacer way where it's very fast paced and stuff. It was just like panicked almost. Like they're just throwing the ball around trying to they're like, "Oh, okay. Elite defender, elite defender, elite defender. God, please somebody else get the ball." But it's just, the Thunder have five elite defenders on the court, so there's really no answer. Um and yeah, I thought they kind of just never could get a rhythm going. I think Mark Dagnall did a better job this game of kind of adjusting to the Pacer lineups. He used double big the because the Thunder had Obi Toppin and Thomas Bryant in, and he was like, "Okay, I can run Chet and Hartenstein against Thomas Bryant and Obi Toppin. That's no big deal."
Yeah.
A little harder with Pascal and Miles Turner because they're a little more finesse in comparison to those guys. So I think he did a good job of kind of adjusting the things in that way. I think the Thunder did a excellent job of not giving up once somebody got past them. Like I noticed a lot with Haliburton and Benedict Mathurin. They would get a screen set or something on their defender, go around them, and then their defender, like I remember SGA did a couple times, would just come behind them and like basically swipe at the ball from behind when they thought that person was kind of out of the play because the other person would switch too, so they had a defender in front of them they were worried about. Thunder would collapse from behind and kind of just a lot of turnovers just kind of forced that way. Um, or even if they didn't get the swipe, just forcing the ball out of that player's hands and then they get like an uglier shot near
Yeah.
the end of the shot clock. Yeah, I just thought they did a really good job preventing the Pacers from playing the way they want to play. And then offense was like you said, it was more aggressive from the other guys. I think the way Shea is playing is really freeing those role players like Aaron Wiggins, who had a really good game for a lot of open threes because he's just getting right into the heart of the paint. And the Thunder, I mean, the Pacers are trying to collapse on him to prevent him, and then he can kick it out, and that person makes the extra hockey pass or whatever, and there's an open guy taking a three. Um, they looked outmatched this game, like I thought they would kind of be for the series. I know I said Thunder at seven, but I think a lot of people said Thunder at five or six for this very reason.
Hmm.
Um, and I think back to the Denver series. Denver won game one, that buzzer beater from Aaron Gordon, and then they lost game two by like 43. So this was kind of that game, the Thunder are like,
Yeah.
okay, we need to come out and do that. Now we'll see what happens at Indianapolis. You said you look like you wanted to say something before you
Yeah,
moved
I
on.
just wanted to add. I did want to say that game. I didn't watch game one enough to really comment on this, but game two, watching, I gotta say, I think the foul calling and the officiating was pretty good. Like I
That's,
didn't.
that's Zach Zarba today, baby.
No, I know. I noticed. I
My
think
goat.
yeah, I didn't really have any complaints. I think they did a very good job of not really disrupting the flow. That let the players play. There was a lot of it was physical. But when it was obviously a foul, like they did a pretty good job of calling it, or they would make it, they do it on one side, they called it on the other side as well, At least that's what appeared from my perspective watching the game. Um, so I just wanted to give a shout out where it's due because
That's
it's easy to
that's fair.
complain. So I just wanted to
I
say
was gonna
that.
say if I haven't complained, that probably means it's good.
Yeah, but I was like, you know what? I think the credit is due where if it's
Although
good.
there
So
there were two things in this game that were bad or no calls. One of them, Thomas Bryant blocked uh somebody. I don't remember who it was, but he put his hand through the rim,
I thought
which
they didn't
they
catch
didn't
that.
call it. No, they didn't
I
call
saw
that
the
at all.
replay. I didn't have sound, so I they didn't say I didn't.
It was Richard Jefferson saying, "I'm pretty sure Thomas Bryant that was goal today." He just put his hand through the thing, and then they showed the replay, and he was like, "I have good eyes." That's,
Gotcha,
that's all it was.
gotcha.
And then there was one like Miles Turner had the ball and was basically dropped out of bounds, and they called it out on the Thunder. And then
Oh,
Mark Dagnall saw it and tried to challenge it, but the Pacers inbounded the ball. But it was
gotcha.
like late in the third quarter.
That's
They were down by like 24, so it didn't matter.
yeah. I mean, that's that is a bit more like I'll let it go. Like I didn't notice that as much, but the mistakes happen and that's fine. But it wasn't like they were calling it very specifically for one team or the other, or not letting them play hard. And I didn't notice a lot of like foul baiting on Shea's side. I think
Mhm.
when he got fouled, it was a foul. So
Yeah.
as it usually is. But hey, you know what? How do you think the rest of the series is going to go now?
Yeah. Um, it's interesting going back to Indiana. I think Indiana definitely has to come out even more energy in game three. I feel like it's been a relatively quiet series for Pascal Siakam. I think he needs to probably step it up if the Pacers want to have a chance to win in this series.
Hmm.
Um, I think Haliburton. I haven't looked at, social media discourse and stuff after this game, but I could see this being another one of those things where people are like, he needs to be more aggressive because he didn't shoot a lot or score a lot. But that's really just because that's kind of what the Thunder were preventing. They were stopping him from
Yeah,
initiating offense a lot of the times. Um, I think Rick Carlisle is pretty good adjustment wise. It seemed like later in this game the Pacers were like experimenting with zone on defense. That'll be interesting if that's an
interesting.
adjustment they decide to go for game three at home. Um,
I think zone
yeah.
makes sense because zone, you're baiting them to shoot the three, and the Thunder aren't historically like this season really the best 3-point shooting team.
hmm
So I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that's just great coaching too to try out the zone. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean Shea hasn't been a great 3-point shooter. He's been, automatic everywhere else. Lou Dort, you'll live with him taking however many threes. As long as it's not Aaron Wiggins or Isaiah Joe or like those guys that are shooters, you're probably okay.
Yeah,
Giving up that shot and hopefully they can find a way to do that. I I feel like there's a chance the Thunder come back 3-1 and it's a scary chance if the Pacers don't adjust accordingly, but my hope is that it's 2-2 for game 5 in OKC, but I definitely don't think it'll be 3-1 Indiana. That's for sure.
yeah,
Um
yeah. I'm with agreement. I think in a perfect world it's 2-2. Because like I just kind of wanted to go 7 games, and I could see it. Obviously, we think that it's possible. I think Indiana needs to make the adjustments they need to. I think they have enough. They've had enough time on the court with this team now that they can really analyze. Because game one, you're like, as much hey, game one they won. That's all that matters. But it was lucky. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, at the very end.
it was hard work. It was a lot. It was not all of it was luck. They worked hard for that, but it was at the last second. That's how you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So you really have to look at a game where it's a bit more, hey, this is what our game looks like one versus one, and that's what this game was. So now their sample size is a bit bigger. I think they can look at what worked, what didn't, and and I was gonna say this earlier. This series makes me really miss Isaiah Jackson for the Pacers. I gotta say,
Mm. Yeah, they need. I was thinking they need another big
yeah,
body because like
yeah,
Tony Bradley, they've already gave up on Tony Bradley.
yeah.
He came up in the next series, but this series he's not getting a lot of run.
It's
Thomas
just too
Bryant
slow. Yeah,
is out there.
Yeah, I don't hate Thomas Bryant, but also like he's a third string center, you know? He's not a
Yeah,
second string. So yeah, I really do wish Isaiah Jackson was out there. I think it'd be a lot harder for like I was seeing a lot of just like Isaiah Hartenstein would get the ball, then they would double, and then he would just pass it to Chet and dunk it, or it'd be the
he's
opposite.
a
You know, it's
good
like
he's a good passer for a
yeah,
big.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
he's big. Like Miles Turner is good defensively, not a great rebounder, and he's not big. Like he's relatively skinny for being 7 feet tall.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed.
yeah, that's a good call on Ijax there. Um,
Yeah, hey, get well soon.
I forgot to mention with the Knicks. Do you know do you know what their point margin was this playoffs? When you see this stat,
Like two.
zero.
You're joking.
They finished the
That is
playoffs dead even.
crazy. That how does that even happen? That's crazy. It almost like has to like be on purpose. Like the last game, they're like, okay, we have to lose by this. That's insane. That is actually blowing my mind right now. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
wild
Well,
little stat.
yeah. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Hey,
way
that's
way later.
yeah. Is it the wrap up? I mean, there are no other games to
That's
talk
all that's
about.
occurred. That's
Yeah,
all
it's
that's
like
occurred. Yeah.
like what is our off season going to look like? I already thought of some cool episode ideas, by the way. So
I here's let me run this idea by you live on the pod.
run
We've
it.
talked about our favorite players, like
Yeah.
all time and stuff. I think it would be cool if we came in, if we had an off-season episode where we both brought in like 10 players, like our top 10 players going like into next season.
Oh, yeah. That'd be sick. Like that you want to watch, like top 10 players to
Yeah.
watch. Yeah. I think that's a great idea.
Like
Um,
guys I like, but
yeah.
like I'm excited to see where they're going, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I have an idea for a pod. I won't say too much, but it is like trivia based, basically. I
Mm.
think that and I'm gonna have stories behind the questions I ask and whatnot. But I think
You're gonna ask me questions. That sounds fun.
yeah,
I
yeah,
like
and I
this.
know, yeah, yeah. So I actually do some research, but when the time comes, I got a really cool idea. I think because I also want to learn about this what I'm gonna be doing. So.
And be like, can you name the 16 jerseys the Rockets have retired? Like, absolutely not.
No, it's not gonna be that hard. It's not gonna be like no, I did research for yeah, like what's the worst second seed team that we've ever had in NBA history? I'm like, okay, hold up. I can't do that. Like that, shout out Soul, love you. But that's tough to answer. That was a couple episodes ago. But anyways, no, this is I yeah, I'll tell you off pod because I wanted to be fresh and exciting for the listener.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I also don't want you to do any of your own research because I know you and you're very thorough. So maybe I won't say anything.
I'm not thorough at all.
What are you talking
Um,
about? Hey. But yeah, that's the finals so far. It's time to get to the wrap up. Wrap up. Wrap up.
oh, I like that. I like that.
No, you don't. It's okay. It's okay, man. Yeah, so game three is Wednesday. Game four is probably going to be Saturday, so we'll probably pod again next week, next weekend. And we'll recap game three, game four. We're super excited about that. We hope you're enjoying the NBA Finals. Definitely watch it if you can. Support it. It's two small markets, but it's awesome. And it's basketball at its finest.
It's good
So,
ball.
yeah, Damon, if you would take the shot, please.
Okay, I will now take the shot.
Here he goes. Bang! Bang! Sorry, he didn't shoot yet. No bang.
Um,
Unbang. Unbanged.
you see people complaining about Mike Green not calling bang on Haliburton shot.
Yes, and it was because it wasn't a three, right?
That was the reason. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
like,
and
and I think the 1-2 he's called it for was like a Kobe shot. I think
yeah, that sounds
against the
about right.
Suns like forever ago.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I when I rewatched the clip, I was a little surprised that I realized that's a two. He probably didn't call it because it was a two, and I saw
I
everyone
didn't
complaining. I'm
even
like,
think about it, so it didn't
yeah,
matter.
it
I didn't think the call was bad.
you know what? It didn't matter. So. Because they still won. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm super excited for game three, game four, and the rest of the series. We hope you are too. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, comment. Thank you so much again for listening. This has been Two Man Game with Damon and Dom.
Buckets.